Welcome back to your weekly iPhone 12 update. There's no new news, but there is plenty of speculation to go around with how Apple is going to handle the launch because of how different and bizarre this year is overall. But looking at the past and how they handled iPhone releases come dire circumstances and more tough timelines, I think there's some things that we should expect moving forward. Let's begin. Alright, so first off, there's a little bit of a cold going around. I don't know if you heard about it, but that, of course, is going to result in a bit of a delay for some of the iPhone launches. Best case scenario, you should probably expect whatever the first iPhone to launch is, more than likely will be the 12 Max or the 12. Essentially, because the Pro iPhones are going to be so, this year compared to the regular iPhones, I imagine Apple's not going to prioritize those, and if they have to delay an iPhone launch, it's gonna be the 12 Pro and 12 Pro Max, just because they know the quantities for that one is going to be a lot lower, so they're going to mass produce it later or not put too many assembly lines towards it. But best case scenario, expect October the new iPhones to actually start delivering to people, and again, that would be the regular 12 and 12 Max. But the current rumors brewing around right now are suggesting that the 12 Max, the 6.1 inch $750 OLED iPhone with a dual camera, yes, it will technically have 5G support, A14 chip, maybe smaller notch, the one we expect everyone to buy, the most popular model. Mass production of that iPhone is supposed to start next month in July, which is actually kind of delayed compared to previous years. But the rest of the iPhone 12 lineup, including the 5.4 inch model, might not even start mass production until August or September. Now, personally, I don't think this means that we're going to see a delayed keynote, because if you notice in the past, Apple is very, very keen on making sure when the iPhones are announced so that there's enough time for hype, there's enough time for marketing, and then people to remember going into the holiday season, oh yeah, that new iPhone came out. I saw that really cringy commercial about it, and that's how they blossomed their sales. I think they're happy with that launch schedule, and the September event is almost pure marketing anyway, so to me, even if the launch is delayed and we don't get the iPhone 12 Max until October, or perhaps even the rest of the 12 lineup until November, even then, I still think they want to unveil it in September, just so they time the market right and they get enough normal annual hype that they are accustomed to each year. Back in 2017, Apple was scrambling to get the iPhone 10 ready in time. They couldn't figure out how they wanted to design it or build it fast enough, and they didn't have much of a supply chain for the Face ID sensors, which was a huge bottleneck at first. Now, thankfully, they figured that all out, but if you guys remember, the iPhone 10 was unveiled in September, but then not shipped until early November. So Apple is comfortable unveiling an iPhone and not shipping it for another 2 months if that's how long it takes in order for there to be adequate supply of one. So similar to 2017 and the iPhone 10 being very limited in supply, personally, I think we're going to see something somewhat similar to that, maybe not to the same extent, but I could imagine some people having a hard time getting their iPhone on launch day, depending on if you're the kind of person to be refreshing at 5 in the morning to get your order in. This might be one of those years to make sure you do that. I still think anyone who does refresh the Apple Store on actual pre-order day, like the minute the store goes live, I still think you'll all get one on launch day, but if you were planning on playing the casual game, okay, and just kind of waking up that morning whenever you feel like it and then ordering one, it's probably going to end up pushing up a few weeks back, because mass production is delayed more than usual, because prototyping was not on schedule because of, the cold going around. And another reason to expect maybe less diversity with the iPhone 12 lineup is because there's simply so many of them. I mean, Apple has never done this before. They've never had 4 brand new iPhone sizes that all came out at the same time, and because of that, that means the A14 chip has to go into each configuration. The 5G modems are spread out across more models, and because there's limited time to mass produce these things, I'm thinking similar to 2017, Apple might be limited in more storage configurations and perhaps even colors and finishes compared to what we got in previous years. So there's no leaks or rumors to suggest this, but that's kind of my point. We haven't really heard about many color options for the 12 other than people saying navy blue. There's a navy blue option. It's a dark, midnight slate blue. But of course, that's going to be an option for the 12 Pro, not the regular 12 Max or 12. And I'm still very curious to hear what colors those regular iPhones are going to come in. And the fact that we haven't really heard much about the colors makes me think that maybe they're not going to offer as many colors that the iPhone 11 or 10R got, because Apple didn't make the 10R and 11 until they had kind of figured out the mass production issues of the initial iPhone 10 launch. They got the Face ID sensors down, they got the displays down. They knew exactly how to scale production with those so they could have a lot more finishes and plenty of storage options. But this year, everything is real tight. Everything's very limited time, very diverse lineup, lots of different iPhones that parts have to go into. So that makes me wonder if, for the sake of simplicity, Apple might not have that many storage options this year. I tweeted this out earlier. I know, and a lot of people got upset, but I think at the end of the day, if the storage option still starts at 128 gig, it's ultimately a win. It's still double what it was before. But my guess personally is that Apple doesn't care about the people who want a 1 terabyte iPhone. I see you guys. I know you exist in the comments, the guys who buy 80 movies on iTunes, and for whatever reason you need all 80 movies you've ever purchased to be downloaded and installed on the phone at every given moment. You don't have to do it that way, I'm just saying, but still, I'm guessing that 128 gig will be standard by default across the entire iPhone 12 lineup. There's been some leaks to suggest that, but also there will only be one other storage option. Maybe the iPhone 12 and 12 Max, you know, the entry-level cheaper iPhones, they will still get 128 gig by default, but the only other storage upgrade you can do is 256. They won't let you do, you know, 3 storage configurations. I know some people want that, but that actually bottlenecks the supply chain quite a bit, which is why the iPhone 10, when it came out in 2017, it only had 2 colors and 2 storage configurations, which was not normal. Most iPhones that had come out at that time had 3 different storage options to choose from, but the year before, the iPhone 7 was 32 gigs by default. Then the following year, they doubled it to 64, but then that was it. It was 64 gigs and 256. There was no in between. So now that there's rumors that they're doubling up storage options again, 128 gig across the board, I think that means for the entry-level iPhones, you get 256. You know, it'll cost you $100 extra or something like that, but if you go with the 12 Pro and 12 Pro Max, those will be 128 gig by default, but then if you want extra, you gotta go straight to 512, and there will be no in between. So the people out there that are happy with 256 gig because 128 isn't enough, but 256 is just right, Apple knows that, okay? They understand that. They want you to splurge. They want you to get more phone than you want to, because don't be fooled. We all know the little flash storage that they put in the iPhone to make it, you know, twice as much or 4 times as much, that doesn't cost an extra $100, $200. We all know that. It's just Apple wants a higher profit margin, and this is the only way that they can have configurations that, you know, start at much higher price points. That's why no phone company is like, oh, you want to double your storage for $10 because that's what it costs us? Sure, go ahead. Apple's not alone in this. You know, Samsung does it, OnePlus does it. It doesn't cost them that much to increase the storage option. It's just a very easy way for businesses and marketing to upcharge a different configuration of the phone so that they can have a higher profit margin on those higher tier specs. So because of the bottlenecks in production and because of the delayed launch, that's why I'm guessing they're going to minimize storage options and maybe not have that many color finishes. So like maybe the 12 Pro and 12 Pro Max, they won't come in a gold color. It'll just be black, white, and this new blue color. There won't be midnight green anymore. And then maybe the iPhone 12 Max and 12 will only come in 3 colors instead of 6 like we've had with the iPhone 11 or 10R. I could be wrong. Again, no evidence to suggest that. This is purely speculative, but my last speculation is that I don't think that the iPhone event in September will actually be in person. I think for the sake of trying to take extra precautions, trying to be extra safe with the pandemic that is still very much present as things are trying to go back to normal, I don't think it would be a good look for Apple to be like, so I know all of you are worried about dying, but let's get together and talk about the new iPhone. I think 2020 is the year Apple's going to do 2 online events. There will still be a keynote, there will still be a live stream we can all watch, but there won't be a bunch of people there. So yes, it'll be awkward, but kind of necessary for the times because people's health is far more important. That's how I think Apple's going to handle the launch of this year's iPhone 12. What do you guys think it's going to be like? Feel free to hit me up over on Twitter, join my Discord, we can chat more about it there. Pointlessly, don't forget about that part. None of this really matters in the end. This is your Apple Sheep here, and I will see you in the next one.